Hi guys, Erica Quadros here, and today I want to talk about some hardy evergreens that are good for sun and for your foundation planting. So let's take a look. One of the first shrubs we're going to take a look at is the dwarf Alberta spruce. Now, this is a really easy care evergreen. It's a coniferous evergreen, being that it's a conifer. It's slow growing. It has a beautiful tight pyramidal habit. It can ultimately get 6 feet or higher over time, but we're talking a long time. And it is very easy to prune. Little to no pruning required, really, being that it grows so slow. It has a nice green color. The new growth is usually a little brighter. Earlier on in spring, you would have noticed that more, but now that summer's here, it's kind of mellowing out to just the whole thing being green. It's a great choice for foundation plantings, just because it's so hardy, and once again, we're talking about sunny areas. It does love sun. It's going to give you something great to look at in the winter. And people also use this when they want to put something in like a barrel with like some annual flowers around it, maybe in front of your business or home. But just keep in mind, if you are going to do something like that, come late fall, early winter, you're going to want to get it in a more protected area. So maybe put it somewhere up close to your house, or in a barn or garage, somewhere not heated, but it can get some protection from the winter wind. And then throw some mulch around the base of it, just to give it some protection. Because if it's just left out in the wind through the winter, it might suffer and, possibly die or get some really bad winter kill. But once again, a great choice for your foundation planting. Next, we're going to get into boxwood. Boxwood is a super common landscape shrub, excellent for foundation plantings or hedges, low borders. Most of them don't get super tall, although they can. There's some upright varieties that can get quite tall that are more pyramidal. This is kind of a more slightly roundish variety. I can't remember if it was like winter gem or green gem or winter green. It's one of those. But ultimately, it's going to get about 3 by 3 roughly. And as you can see here in the landscape, I have 3 planted. So, in a design aspect, I've went over the fact before that, it's good to have odd numbers, and odd numbers just look better in a design than, just having an even number. So it just looks better that way, unless you're trying to plant on either side of like a doorway or something. And back to the selling aspects of this is that they're very easy care. They're slow growing, little to no pruning required. And, if I want to, I can let this all grow in to each other to be like a tight little hedge. Or I can prune them and I can leave space in between them and keep them kind of rounded. So they're pretty easy and versatile to work with. They like sun. They can be in part sun. They're a broadleafed evergreen, so they are going to give you something to look at in the winter. This variety does get more of a lighter shade of green, almost, I guess I could say it gets almost a little more orangey green, so I guess darker. It gets a little more orangey green in the winter time, so some varieties kind of stay more green. This one does get a different color. So depending on, your design, or if that's something that's going to bug you, you might want to look into a variety that holds more of a green color in the winter. So once again, a really great shrub, super easy care. We're going to go over and we're going to find some more easy care shrubs for the sun. Next, over here, This is one of my favorites to work with for foundation plantings when I'm doing designs for my clients and obviously my home, because if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. This right over here is a Steed's Japanese holly. So to the untrained eye, some people may think that this is a boxwood or in the boxwood family because the foliage does look quite similar, but it is not. I actually, to be honest, I like boxwood, but I like these better than boxwood. I use them more often. There's different varieties. Some of them will have more of a rounded habit, and some of them will be more upright and pyramidal. This one will take on the more upright pyramidal habit, and it'll reach about 6 feet in height and about roughly 4 feet wide at maturity. Little to no pruning is required for this one. Once again, when it comes to foundation shrubs, we want low maintenance, hardy, easy care. This is a broadleafed evergreen, so it is going to hold its green in the winter time. So it's going to give you something nice to look at. So that is a great plant. So it's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts today. We've had a lot of rain, and now we're having some sunshine, so that's something that I can't complain about. We're going to walk over to the other side, and I'm going to show you some other nice shrubs for the sun and your foundation planting. Next over here, we have just the typical regular American holly. Now, some people may argue that this is not a sun shrub. This is more of a part shade shrub. It really just depends on your exposure. So mine is getting sun, but it also gets some good protection from the house. So it's not in a total open, windy location where it's going to get whipped in the winter by the cold wind. So, it's a little more protected here. So, in your foundation planting, this can be a really nice shrub or small tree. So I say that because if you don't trim these, they can be quite vigorous actually. And, they can get tall, they can get wide, but it's something that if you're willing to, just maybe once a year or once every couple of years, just trim it. If you want it rounded, if you want it more pyramidal, where mine is, I like it more pyramidal. You can easily do that. And I'm showing it to you because it's hardy, it's easy care. I consider it low maintenance in the sense that, it's easy, it's not going to give me a hassle, but it is on the more vigorous side. So for people who don't want to have to, worry about trimming it, it might not be the shrub for you if you don't have the space. If you have the space to let it get big, which I do, that can happen too. But if you're working with a tight space, you might want to stick to the Japanese holly instead, because the Japanese holly is much slower growing. And that can give you that same nice pyramidal habit. Another nice selling point here is that, it has its nice green leaves, and that's going to last through winter, obviously, being that it's an evergreen. But it also gets really nice red berries in the fall that will persist usually through winter. Sometimes the birds will go at them, but they're great. The females get the berries, the red berries, so I typically will buy females if I'm going to use them around my yard. And if you buy a male, the male will pollinate the female with its flowers, and the male will not get berries. But its main purpose is, to pollinate the female to get the berries, but the male can also be used in your foundation planting if you're just looking for something green. Now, I typically don't buy a male because for me, if it gets berries, it gets berries. It can be pollinated by a wild winterberry in the woods, which is a deciduous holly, or your neighbor might have one and it can be pollinated that way too. So if that's the case, if it bugs you, get the male if you definitely want the berries. If it doesn't matter, don't worry about it. So if you're looking for something dwarf, we're going to move on to our next one over here. This over here is a great, great little shrub. I actually really like it. This is a Mr. Bowling Ball Arborvitae. It's great because if you're looking for something that stays small, that's not going to grow super fast, this is the shrub for you. I just planted that one. It got into the old one got into a little accident over the winter with a snowplow. So these are a little bit older, and you can see kind of the rounded shape. I have another one over there. They're really great. So their ultimate size is going to be about 2 by 2 roughly. And what's nice about it is that it really requires little to no pruning at all. And it will keep its rounded habit for the most part, really. Over time, I've worked with these in designs, and yeah, really, it does truly hold its shape. It does stay rounded like that. Of course, little bits of pruning can definitely keep it perfect if you're real OCD about it. But otherwise, I just really I like things neat and trim, but I really just let them go because they're true to what they say. They do hold their shape. It has a really nice texture. It's super soft, nice color, so it creates a nice contrast. Once again, in the design aspect, having like a different background. Like I have this blue stone instead of dark mulch. Either one would look great, but things like this will also pair well with evergreens that have a darker foliage, so you have a nice mix. But I love this little guy, Mr. Bowling Ball. And the nice part about it is that even though we're talking about sun shrubs for foundation plantings, this little guy can do part shade as well and still hold its color and still be pretty full. Now, part shade, so some sun, some morning sun at least. It doesn't want to be buried in deep dark shade. It will not be happy there. But it's like I was saying, it's doesn't get bigger than 2 by 2 roughly. It's slow growing. Watering needs just average soil really. It's a great easy care, low evergreen if that's what you're looking for in your area. So that's it for today. Next time we'll go over some different plants, whether it's perennials or shrubs. Please catch my next video, and remember, you can do it, anyone can do it, and I'm here to help. Have a great day, guys. Bye.